Tonight's Talk at 10. The SRC Arena has been in a controversial state of late. Post-Standard gets some credit for getting this story rolling and asking for key documents. They finally were released today, or at least some of them were, some of the pieces of information. School at first wanted to keep these contracts for events that are produced there private, but the Onondaga County Legislature then threatened to hold up funding for the school. The arena was partially paid for with tax dollars, and we're starting to get a better look at, well, the kind of money at least flowing through there. We don't nearly have a complete picture of how much they've made or ticket receipts or anything like that, but we've got a better idea, I guess, and it's progress. Michael Benny joins us tonight for the Talk at 10, as he does every night, and I didn't mean to interrupt your reading the contract riders for Tau and River Dance and Branford Marsalis and yep. ESM graduation, and from a small event to a large event. They released something like 100-something pages of these contracts, and much of it is standard language. If you've ever seen a contract for one of the, especially with the national touring acts.
Yeah, and most people haven't. I mean, most of this is standard. I mean, with the exception of the price for performance, like on Branford Marsalis, where it's agreed that he'll get paid $40,000 to be there. For
and also potential for more based on receipts if you sell at the arena, that kind of thing.
I mean, the story in this is really not this. It's the wind-up to this and the refusal by Onondaga Community College and the people who are in charge up there, and particularly of the SRC Arena, to tell first the newspaper, no, you can't have these. Then to tell us, no, you can't have these. We'll release them to the Onondaga County lawmakers, and then, you know, if they want, they'll release it to you. Well, that's unacceptable. It is 100% unacceptable, and OCC has ridden that rather unacceptable wave for days now.
They have, and their assumption that because they've created a not-for-profit spin-off corporation to run this arena, it's unreasonable to think that they could be using public dollars and keep all these things secret as if they were completely a privately funded business. It also raises the question about the Freedom of Information Act, which has become something that's been abused as a shield by public entities to keep the media in particular, but the public as a whole, from reading, having easy accessibility to documents that have already been generated and should just be accessible upon the asking. We had a similar case, not to get off the topic too much, but last week the State Commissions on Corrections had released their report about Raul Panay Jr. dying, blaming the sheriff's deputies, and I was on the phone with the person in charge of their media contact, and this report had already been published publicly. We're trying to get essentially our own link to it digitally, and they're telling me I have to file a Freedom of Information request. That is not what Freedom of Information law is about.
Not at all. That was putting up a barrier. There was steam coming out of your ears.
By the way,
I was filing for you. It was not 5 o'clock. It was close to 4:30, and I believe you were told by some bureaucrat in Albany what?
Well, they were told that their day is done at 4:30, which is hard to believe, and now it's 6 days later and we still haven't got that information, although we reported on it in other ways. But so that's one issue, but this Freedom of Information is not designed to be a shield. It's designed to open up access, and it's being used in the opposite direction, and OCC's been using it that way too, I think, in this case.
Why OCC did not anticipate that this would become the brouhaha that it has is beyond me. There are smart people in charge there. This had to have been run up to the president's office, and Debbie Saito has done amazing things on this campus.
It's actually a great asset for the community. It's a new facility, can host sports, music, arts, trade shows. Look at what it's been able to draw already. It's been very appealing to customers to come in there. On our Facebook page right now, people have been digging through these documents a little bit, which we appreciate the endeavor they've used. And Susan's saying, for example, I find it interesting that the fee for the WISE lunch was waived, yet ARC of Onondaga was charged in the range of $3,500. But for the Y, where they happened to honor Debbie Saito, it was waived. That's interesting in itself. That's the same kind of fee that at ESM High School is going to be paying for its graduation rental of the arena. Mark saying, you know, considering the county technically owns both venues, they're really not in competition, referring to the War Memorial and the On Center, just putting money from one pocket into the other, but not really, because because OCC is retaining the money that's going into the SRC Arena, into this private not-for-profit corporation, as opposed to the On Center, which is really more directly tied to county government and the county budget. So there definitely is a difference here.
And there are things that are in here that have been redacted. So this is not the full picture.
Some of it's entertaining, like Riverdance needed 80 pounds of ice to be able to treat the bruises of the dancers. I think, you know, that's entertaining.
It is entertaining. And one of the drums in the Tao drumming show weighed 850 pounds. I thought that was kind of
so
interesting.
some of that's a fun read, aside from the
But there's a
issues
bigger issue at stake here, and that is, first of all, the public relations manner that this all dribbled out in is just sort of ugly, and I don't believe that it is reflective of how OCC runs and how it is seen in this community as such an asset.
Yeah.
It was so puzzling to me the way this was handled.
Yeah, hopefully it's behind them, us, and it all works out now.
Documents on our website.
Yeah, you can read it, cnycentral.com. Not too late to join the conversation. Read the document, post your comments, pick out your favorite tidbit on there. We'd gladly have you do that, and post your comments on Facebook, too.